Hi, this is Tim Taylor, Executive Director of SSDA, and looking forward to spending the next 8 minutes or so with you and kind of walk through your leadership as you're dealing with what could be one of the most significant events in our lives, the COVID-19 and a pandemic. So I hope this helps you look forward and deal with your leadership and help you prepare for what's going to be a very difficult and rewarding journey. So my background, I was the county superintendent during the Camp Fire, which was the worst fire in California history. So my background will help you a little bit with dealing with this worldwide pandemic. And you can see as 85 people died and we lost 19,000 structures, we learned a lot about leadership during that time. So your leadership will be tested over the next few months, if not over the next year. And I want you to reflect back on your leadership and have you provided yourself with leadership and your school board and your people. And as a leader during a pandemic or a catastrophe, you have to think ahead. You have to think of worst case scenarios and be prepared for what's going to hit you. And remember, you will have your people step up and you'll have some people step away. You have to deal with that. So it's pretty simple. You're going to have to rely on partnerships you've had and hope you created. If you're starting to build partnerships in the middle of a catastrophe, that's very difficult. So hopefully it comes down to who are your best partners and who's going to help you succeed. So the best advice that I got was to stay in your lane. You're going to be pulled in a lot of different directions, and the key is to stay in your lane. You're not here to solve all the world's problems about the pandemic here. Your job is to get kids back in school and stay laser focused on that. Say no to meetings you don't get, that help you to do that. Stay in your lane. I'm going to review for you the 3 stages of a catastrophe, a pandemic, which is recovery stage, restore stage, and the rebuild stage. So the first stage is the recovery stage. A lot of things around communication here. The recovery stage is very difficult. Think of a fire. Things are burning. So now your job is to make sure everyone's in a safe and secure environment. A recovery stage usually lasts a couple weeks. It's very intense, unpredictable, long, and believe me, you'll feel like you'll get punched in the face every day. Today we learned that millennials and young kids are going to die from the virus. That is a punch in the face. You'll get these every day until we get out of the recovery stage. During this intense time, it's very important for you to develop certain communication rituals to inform your education community. You may want to have a 9 o'clock meeting with your leadership team or your teachers. You may want to have a 12 o'clock, that's when you release a press release or information to your families. Be consistent on that because people will wait for it, and it also helps you have timelines. Remember, this is about getting your kids back into school. So it's not about getting academics to your students up front. You are dealing with getting food, water, comfort, security, and safety and preparation for return. So in that recovery stage, I really think you need to stay in your lane. You can't worry about what every employee is doing during the recovery stage. You're moving 100 miles a minute. You're dealing with some initial trauma, and this is a worldwide pandemic. Every single day you're going to hear some frightening news. So your job really is to stay focused on getting those kids back in school. Sometimes we get caught up because we're worried about, do teachers have things to do at home? What's going on with the classified staff? Get the recovery stage, get through the recovery stage, and then you can move on from there. You know, I stole this from Dave Gordon. I just really think it's imperative that you look at this. Your job is to prepare your staff for a future educational world, which will probably include distance learning. We need time to understand this virus and the behavior. And as you can see in today's news, now we have to worry about children getting the virus and also dying. And also, you have a responsibility as a public servant to stop the spread of the virus, keep kids off your campus, follow the social distancing rules and gathering rules. Even if it's painful and people are giving you a bad time, you have that responsibility. So soon you'll enter the restore stage, and I would say it's probably another 7 days or so away. And so now you recovered, you got kids in a safe environment, you've closed your school down, and you've begun to get information. Then you move into the restore stage, which is really preparing your teachers and your staff for returning back to a school environment. So you're going to have a plan and get it ready. We keep hearing that this is going to be longer than a couple, 3 weeks. It might be the end of the school year. So you're going to have to focus on delivering through distance learning or hybrid learning. That is what the restore stage is all about, is preparing for the return of your educational service delivery model. The restore stage also has a huge component around mental health, anxiety, and your teachers need to be prepared to work with children who are going to be fractured and families that are going to be traumatized. So you need to start bringing back to your positive rituals. Hey, we're coming back. Here we go. And really, during this stage, your culture is going to be tested, and you have to do it. And now you're going to do it probably in an environment where the kids are on your campus. So really, you're going to have to bring back those core rituals that you believe in and showcase them via the internet, cameras, or like I'm doing right now. In the restore stage, you'll be shocked how greatness will rise. Your educators and your community members, your churches will all help, and you'll see these amazing people do amazing things. You'll find out your students are extremely resilient, and you'll find out things will be different. But this is a point where you'll start to really see your leadership and your people, your great people, become even greater. The third stage is the rebuild stage, and it's usually a longer part of the 3 stages. It's very tough. Your MTSS and your trauma support will be imperative. If you will be in communities that will lose people who will die from this virus, who will be affected by this virus, who will test positive, and that's very difficult. You're going to have to rely on government support, and that has its good and bad. Try not to resist the government support. You're going to need it. And remember, things will be forever different. So embrace that. It's going to be different. It's not always going to be the same. But you can embrace that as a leader and teach your kids and your staff to embrace that. Again, this restore stage is a journey. And again, it could last months. We're hearing maybe this could be an 18-month virus. There'll be residuals even after that. So when you think of 9/11 or the space shuttle, those things linger forever with you. I believe this will too. But in the end, your children, your education, and yourself will be stronger than ever as you get through this and reflect on how much it's made you a better human being and how much it's really helped kids be resilient and prepared for their college and career. Yeah, I think the last thing I want to talk to you about is after you kind of go through all these stages, you stay in your lane, you rebuild and restore, you will experience some of the most incredible moments of your life. You'll see people do things that really overwhelm you. It'll bring you to tears. It'll bring you kind of to your knees. And your job as the leader is to make sure you enjoy those moments and share them out with your education community because they will come. I hope this helped you. I think you're heading into a very difficult and trying time. And I want you to know the number one thing is to remember you are the leader of this whole process. And it's very important that you embrace that, take care of yourself, and do the best you can.